Hi, this is a short video on our new tax increment financing district feature in Impact Dashboard. As you probably know, it's extremely important to understand property tax calculations related to new economic development projects. And it's common, a common incentive for economic development is tax increment financing, and most states have some form of TIF financing. So it's important that a comprehensive economic development impact model can account for these calculations. And we have a pretty cool feature in Impact Dashboard that I want to walk through right now. First, what you'll do is enter the project-specific information in the model as you normally do, and I've already done that. That's what we're looking at here. Right now, we're calculating the net benefits for all of our local taxing districts, kind of just as they normally would, based on the normal property tax rates and so forth. And we can see snapshots of our results here in the dashboard. We've got $568,000 in net benefits for the city, and that includes part of that is our property taxes that we're expecting. So now what we want to do is adjust our property tax calculation so that we can account for tax increment financing. And each TIF district is going to be a little bit different. They have their own rules. So how much of the incremental property tax might be contributed to the TIF, which districts are going to participate, but we can enter all of those specifications into our model. So what I'm going to do is click in our upper right-hand corner on the gear icon for the settings. And once I'm in here, I'm going to click on our TIF district. This is a new tab that's now available on all of our scenarios. If I click on there, now I can see that I have the ability to identify that this project is located in a TIF district. So if I click on this checkbox, it's going to give me some additional inputs. The main thing that it's asking us for, other than the name, so we can give this TIF district a name. We could call whatever we want. For example, in Texas, they're kind of called TIRZ, T-I-R-Z. So we could call it TIRZ number 1 or whatever it is. And then what we want to do is specify, as it says here, the portion of incremental taxes contributed to the TIF district by each taxing district. And so some of our clients are in an area where, or a state where, all tax districts taxes to the TIF. If that were the case, what I would do is go through here and put in 100% for each type of property and for all of the districts. Now, in Texas, it's a little bit more common that maybe only the city or maybe the city and the county would be participating in a TIF district, and they might not give 100% of their taxes. They might only give a portion. And so that's what we've got going here. We can see that the city and the county here are participating in this TIF number 1. They're contributing 40% of their real property taxes. That's the taxes, the incremental taxes on the land and then the buildings. They're not contributing anything on FF&E, and they're not contributing anything to the TIF on inventory taxes. In the same way, the school district, road district, and water district aren't contributing to the TIF at all either. If we've got that set here, so let's say that that's what I wanted to use. I've got to check. This is the TIF specifications. We can look at the report and see what happens. So now our net benefit for the city, which I guess previously had been $568,000, has dropped down to $510,000. And we can see our TIF contributions are noted here of $57,000, almost $58,000. If we look at our detailed report, and we'll see a look at the fiscal impact across all of the districts, and we can see what that looks like here. We've got the city, and this is that $510,000 we just mentioned. And then we can also see we've got a line for the TIF district showing that the benefits to the TIF district are $94,000. And that's that sum of the taxes that would be contributed by the city, number 1, and by the county, because those were the two that were contributing to this particular district. If I scroll all the way to the bottom, I've got a new appendix here that will show these actual year-by-year revenues of the property taxes contributed to the TIF. So here we can see year by year what the city is chipping in. This was that $57,000, almost $58,000 we saw before. This is the amount the county chips in. And so in total, here's that $94,000 we just saw. Now, we've got the ability to make a lot of different assumptions here with the TIF. So if I go back to our TIF district, we can see some of these other settings that we didn't talk about yet. So number 1, the biggest one would be to save this TIF district specification for future use. So for example, you have TIF number 1 and you want to enter that in for a project, but then you might want to use it again later in a different scenario for a different type of project. And so you can do that just by clicking Save TIF Specifications for Future Use. And so this will give you the chance to give it a name and then save it. You can manage your TIF district profiles. So this is essentially a TIF district profile that we've plugged in here. We can manage those if we just go here, and this takes us to My Account, and we can see our TIF district profiles. I've got 2 different TIFs. If I click on this, I can see what exactly those are. And if we wanted to, we could even change them and save it to be a little bit different. I'm going to go back to my scenario though. This is again our My Account page where we can set our different TIF district profiles. So again, if you were to click on the Save District TIF district specifications for future use, they'll just get saved into your My Account settings. And then we can also, once we're in here, let's say that we wanted to switch and use the other TIF district, we can just say choose different TIF district profile, and we can select a different one if we wanted to. I'm going to cancel out of that and not do that. The other thing that we can do, I've so far entered these as a percent, so 40%. If we wanted to, we can also enter them as an amount of the tax rate. So for example, if your tax rate was 0.6, but you only contributed 0.35 to the TIF, you could enter the amount contributed to the TIF as 0.35 as opposed to, say, a percentage. If it were defined that way. In some of our clients, it is defined as an actual amount of the tax rate as instead of a percentage. The final parameter here that we have the ability to control is this idea that the TIF may expire within the window of this analysis. So for example, let's say that you're not setting up a TIF necessarily, but you just have a project that's going to be located in a TIF. We're running this analysis for the next 10 years for this new project, for a 10-year analysis of this project. But we know that the TIF might only last, or it's only scheduled, it's only on the books for another 5 years. So in which case we would want the TIF calculations to apply for the next 5 years, but then after that kind of revert back to what they would normally be, where the city and the county would be getting their full amount of those taxes. So if we said the TIF length or the TIF duration was 5 years, meaning that the TIF is going to only last another 5 years, we could have that accounted for in our analysis. So if we go back to our report, we can see now the net benefits are higher because now there's 5 years at the end of the project where the TIF doesn't any longer apply. We can see our TIF that the city contributes, the TIF contributions that the city makes, is a good bit less. If we go to our detailed report, we'd be able to see, I'll go right to the very bottom here, and instead of 97 or whatever the number was, $90-some thousand, we can see that's only about 45,000, and we can also see that those contributions only occur for the first 5 years and then nothing beyond that. So this is a really kind of handy feature, really flexible. If you're having questions about how to get this set up and kind of enter these profiles for your particular local TIFs, we can certainly help you do that. But this is really intended to be able to handle a wide range of these really common TIF district scenarios. Thanks so much.